Hello there, and welcome to the day 7 of this full stack application. So today we are going to look at Mssql database that we'll be using in this project, and Mssql is a Microsoft conventional SQL databases, or you can call it SQL Server. So what we will do, we just connect our application with our database. So to start with, if you haven't used Mssql, don't worry, I'll just go through everything that you require. But if you haven't installed in your Mssql, you can go ahead and install it. There are various ways which you can install SQL Server, and we proceed in this video. For me, I have installed the Docker. Here is the Docker container for Mssql. As you can see here, it is running on port 1433, and we have this Azure Data Studio. Now here is where I'm just running my commands, and I will show you. And here we will create things like store procedures. So if you want to go with this method of mine and connecting to database and installing Mssql, it's easy. So what you will do, just come here on your browser and then write Docker, just like Docker, just like that. And now you just go into this Docker Hub. So now what you do is just sign in, or if you don't have an account, just register first of all. So because I have already an account, you'll see that it will sign me in with my account. And then what we'll do is just search for our Mssql or our MySQL server or SQL server. So just come here, add SQL server, just like that. And let's see the results here. So you just scroll down and until you find the SQL server container or image. So you just go down. So here you can already see Microsoft SQL Server container, and you can just come here, run the command here. This one, you can use this one for 2019. I'm actually running on this container here, or an image for Docker. But you'll just do this if you have already installed Docker Desktop. So you can just first of all install this Docker Desktop, just like that. You just come here, download it. If you are on Mac or Linux or even the Windows, just come here, select your OS here, and then install your Docker Desktop. From there, now you just need to go and install Azure Studio, just like that. And now you can just look for it and install it. So after you have installed it, here already you can see the documentation in Microsoft website. So after you have done all that, you have installed the Docker, you have installed this image for SQL, Microsoft SQL Server. Now what you need to do is just open your Azure Studio, and here you can already see the connection. You can just come here and create connection. Let me go back first of all. Here you can already see new connection. So you just click that, and because I have already a connection, you can see I have this green dots here. So what you do here, you just add like localhost. Yeah, it should be small, localhost, just like that. And then you can add the port 1433, and then the username is the name that you used here. This one here, that is MSQL SA password. No, this one should be, it should be this name, and your password this one. So what you do, you just come and add, let's say SA, just like that, and then you add the password. In this case, this is your password, but you can change to whatever you want. So after that, you go back, and now we can start this video together. So you can, I will just link this video or another YouTube. Some YouTubers are trying to show you how to do this in an easier way, and when you follow that, you'll see it is an easy task. So in this video, we'll covering things like schema and Mssql schema in our project. We learn about store procedures and how to use store procedures, because most of the time store procedure are the best option to use when you're using SQL servers, and they exist in all SQL relational databases like MySQL and Postgres. And another thing, we learn the best practices and documentation of that database, so that if you're working with a team of developers, then they can already see how your database looks like, and you can code without much trouble or without hinges in your project. So that's how I want to structure my code and this project. And let's get into the video and see how we will do that. Now to start with, we have this Azure Data Studio. Let me zoom it, or let me make it a full screen. So what you'll do is just first of all create database. As you can see here, I had already the database that I used in the previous projects. So here are all projects that I have, the databases that I have used with my projects. So what we'll do is just first of all create a database. So we'll say create database, and if I already have done a little bit of SQL, you can already know what I mean by that, or you can see these commands are similar and they are not that complex. So create database, and our database will call it Courier, just like that, Courier service or Courier DB. Let me call it Courier DB, just like that, and then let's run this command. So to run commands, there's a play button here called run. So what you do is just click on it, and it will just create a database for you, because SQL it has a database. It should have a database that will hold the tables, and those tables can have relationship, and those tables contain columns and rows of data or entries. So we have already created our database. So if you just come here in this drop down, you can already see we have our database. Now we need to select this database called Courier DB. So we can create, we can get it, we can select it. And now another thing is we want to create tables. And first of all, I want to just show you how SQL commands work for those people who have never worked with SQL or relational databases. And then after that, I will show you how to use store procedures, and we will look at advantages of using store procedure rather than using bare queries, SQL queries. So let's first of all create an example, we play with it, and then I'll show you how to use those store procedures. So let me create a table, a simple table. So I'll say create table, and our table, we can call our table parcels, just like that, and then we need to give a column name. So first of all, I can say ID, and this ID should be of type int, and we can get it an identity of one. That is to say that this identity is like auto incrementing. So the first record will have an ID of 1, the second will have an ID of 2, and it will increment in that way or manner. So that's the first one, and I can say it's not null, just not null, just like that. And again, we need to give this space here. We can have say maybe track ID. Remember, this is just an example. We just do it our own. I just want to have a refresher for those people who don't have skills in SQL. So that's track ID, and track ID I can give it a vulture or a string. It should be a string, and I can give it even 200, and then I can say not null, just like that. And I can add another thing like maybe recipient or sender. I can say sender, and sender is also vulture string, and you can give it 100 strings or characters, and you can say not null, just like that. Now another thing is recipient or receiver. Let's call it receiver, just like that, and we can give a vulture, and it should be 100 again, and not null, just like that. So that's one. And I think the other one should be a status, just status, and we can give it a vulture also, or we can give it an int, and we can give it an int, but this time we should, or it is not a must to provide a value because we give it a default value. So what we do, just say default, and we can give a default of 0, and we can say not null, just like that. I'm hoping that you are getting this what we are doing here. So now what we'll do, we have already created our table, and our table is called parcels, and our parcel should contain ID, track ID, sender, and receiver. Those are name of those that person who will be sending, and that person who will be the recipient, or person who will be receiving our parcel. So, or the parcel that has been sent. And status is like, say, let's say pending or delivered, something of the sort. So now let's click here on this run, and let's create our table. So when we click on it, we can already see commands completed successfully. So now what we do, we just delete, and we want to see our table. So what will command that will type is select. I like to use in caps, select, and then you can see from, and our table is called parcels. Already it can autocomplete for you. So let me add that cap picture there. So after that, now let's run our command. So you can already see this one here. We have ID, track ID, sender, receiver, and status. And now you can just comment this command. You can comment that command there. And now let's say we want to insert something in this table here. So what we do, we just say insert into. This is just a normal SQL. Insert into parcel, and you can now indicate how you want your values to look like. We can say track ID, and another is sender, and we have receiver, and we have status, just like that. Those is, oh no, we don't need to add status because it is added by default, and we don't have to add ID because it is auto incrementing for us, and it's I forgot to set it as a primary key. So now what we need to add now is our values. So our values can be, let me add maybe something like 1, 2, 3, 4, something of the sort. Another is a sender. You can call it a sender, and sender, just like that, sender. And we have, or we call it maybe name. Here we can give it John, and the receiver can be Royce. just like that. So after that, now you see, now I have to insert into this table. We have indicated our values, our columns and the values, and you can already remember in our table we have set that this ID, this one here, a primary ID, we shouldn't add because it is auto incrementing for us, and we don't have to add status because by default it will be added 0, and you'll see that after we have run this command. So let's run this command. You have already seen that the database is telling us that one row is affected. So what we can do is just comment that and comment this value here. Let's comment this one here. Let's comment that and uncomment this one here, so that we see our values in table that we have inserted. So if you run again, you can already see the entries that we have added. This one is this that we have added with these entries here. So what we'll do is just, let me comment again and comment this one here and add values, other values. Let me say something like, you can add anything here. You can add something like that, and then we say this time is Royce, and maybe say Joy, and let's run that command. And we can even uncomment this Joy, and then we can again maybe say this time is James, and we have maybe something like Duff or something of the sort, and let's see how it looks like. So if you run, you can already see the command. So now I think 3 entries is okay with us. So what we can do now, run, you already see these entries we have added in our table. So you can create another table that is users and do the same. You can have as many tables as you want in your database. So now another command that I want to show you is update. So you can say update parcels, and then you can see set, and say status is equals to 1 where the ID is equals to 1 or is equals to 2, something of the sort. And after this, you see like this one here, this column, this row here, an entry with an ID of 2, the status will change to 1 when I run this command. So let's run this command. So let me first of all give a caps there, and we had this status, so it's okay. Let's run. Okay, now when you, let me comment that if you run, you already see that status has changed for this column row here. So now what I want to do, I need to now show you the Rust command, and that is delete. So you can say delete, and you say delete from parcels, and you identify, you give a condition. You can say where ID is equals, because it is small letters, ID is equals to 3, and now you see that you delete this row here or this entry here. So now when we run this command, and when you comment this and run this select from parcels, you already see we don't have that row here. So now what we need to do, I just want to show you how to use stop procedure for us, because that's the one thing that we'll be using. So, and before that, you can already come here and search the benefits of store procedure just like that, and already you can see the advantages. One of the things is to help you build powerful database application. Store procedure provide several advantages, including better performance, high productivity, ease of use, and increased scalability. Additionally, store procedures enable you to take advantage of the computing resources of the server. You already see that we have benefits that it's really hard to ignore, or there are advantages that you need to add on your application because it will make it efficient. Even you can cache your results in database using store procedure so that you don't have to make so much queries, and you make your database as fast as possible. And this is one of the things that many developers don't know, and that's why I want to show you so that you be the powerful developer that you can be. So let me show you how to use this to create these store procedures, and you can go ahead and learn more about these store procedures. So we say create, and we say procedures. It's just like a command that we use for table. Create store procedure, and this one will say get all parcels, just like that. And now you can come here down and say as, and then we can say select, or we can just come here and copy this command and paste it here that way. So now this is to say that you want to have this store procedure here. You need to have this store procedure as a let me call it a function in the database, so that when we call this function, it will run for us this query. So let's run this so that we create this store procedure. So when you run that, you can now have a store procedure. You can call this store procedure. So instead of calling this select all from parcel, you can just say exec and call the get all parcels, just like that. And then when you run, you already see we have tables, and we have not run the query select all from parcels, and you have already used store procedure, and you can already see the results because indicated that if you call this function here or store procedure, it will run for you this query here. But behind the scene, you have already improved your database by far, and it is working very, very fast, and it is increasing your efficiency in database queries and things like that. So now I know what you're asking yourself. Maybe you're asking yourself, what if we have like this insert into, and we want to add that entries in our table using store procedure? But that is very easy. Just want to create other two store procedures, and then we proceed with our program. So what we do, just create store procedure. For this time, we'll use this for insert here, and we'll say create and then procedure, and this procedure we give it a name of add parcel, as to say that it will add parcel. But rather than leaving there and going to as, you need now to give entries, and these entries should include these entries that you want here, or entries that you require here, like track ID, sender, and receiver. So what you'll do, you just create at and call it track ID, and then you can give it n voucher, let's say 100 or 200, whatever that is enough characters to hold that value. So now you can add sender, and sender you can have voucher, sender and voucher, just like that. And we have maybe 100, and last thing is at receiver, just like that, and you can give it an end voucher of 100 once again. So that's all. Now you just come here and you can add that. Now you need to select this command here, all of it, just like that. Let me copy and paste it. When you copy this, copy it, and then down here you can add it there. So now I just want it to look like that, and now here you can add this now values from our store procedure. The first one is track ID, and you can notice that here we are using at track ID at something, just like that. So that's track ID, track or sender, or at sender, and we have at receiver. There you can create your store procedure from starting that way, or a procedure that have entries. So now when you run, you already see we have created this store procedure called add person, and it is receiving this these three here entries. So now it will do, we just comment it. Let's first of all comment there, and let me comment here again. So, and if you are using Mssql or you are using MySQL or Postgres, you can just search for or research on how to use store procedures. So let me call this store procedure. So you say exec and say add parser, and by now we want to use just this command here with add entries. So add entries, we say add track ID, and we'll give it a value of 1 2 3 4 5. And another thing we want to call is or we want to add is at sender, just like that. And this one will add name or maybe JSON, and receiver, you can call this one something like, let's say maybe James something, or just like that. And when you run now, it will insert for you this store procedure will insert for you the entries. So already you see we have this one. So but because we are using this store procedures, now I want to call it as store procedure exec, and then call the store procedure called get all parcels, and let's see if we have added this entry in our table. So when you run, you can see this one we have added with our store procedure. So now I think you have a clear mind on this. So the last one that I want to show you is for delete, to create a store procedure for deleting. So create store procedure, and then let's call it delete parcel. And this one you can say add, and we want ID because that one will be the one that we'll be using, and this one is int, that one is we'll be using it here. So we say as, and we say, or we can add delete, or just copy to save on some time. So just copy it and then we paste it here, just like that. So now you already see what we are doing. So you just add at ID, the ID that we give as our argument or as our entry in our store procedure will be used here. So, and to use it you need to add at ID. So now you can run this store procedure, and you can see it's already successfully added in our database. So let me comment this here. And now what we can do now is to run this one here, or this stop procedure, so that you see how it works. So now first of all I want to run this get all passes so that you see how it is working. So get all passes, I think that stop procedure is called like that. Yes, so you already see we have these 3 rows or 3 entries. So now let's call for this, let me first of all call this for deleting, and then we select all that we see. So exec and then delete parser, and we can give it an ID of let's say 1, and you see that this row that has ID of 1 will be deleted, but we have used the stop procedure. So when we run, you already see we have deleted, but now we have used stop procedure. So you already see how easy it is and how stop procedure can help you. But now we need to structure our database and start using those stop procedures for us. So luckily I have already gone ahead and created all stop procedures, so we just copy and paste them, so that to save some time. And I will show now how to connect our database with our application with Node. So let me delete. Let me first of all drop the table parser. So let me drop a table parser or parsers, just like that, and let me now drop it. So now if you try to even just say get or call the procedure get all parsers that we had created, already there is none, because we have deleted the table, and the table that's command that is. And to drop maybe a procedure, you want to delete a stop procedure, you can say drop procedure and the name of the procedure. Let me say get all parsers, the name of the procedure. So when you run, you just delete it. And another one that we had added is delete parser, delete parser, just like that. We drop and we drop the other one for add parser, just like that. Simple and clear. So when you try to drop again, you see that it will show you it doesn't exist. So you can already solve, because it does not exist, you do not have permission. So let me delete everything. So now what we want to do is, let me go into our folder here, or in our application, and here in our DB, that's where we include the documentation for our DB, things like table and stop procedures that we have used, and our structure for that database. Because if you are working with developers, now they need to come onto your documentation for DB and see how you have structured your database, so that they continue on the project maybe that you are doing, or they get in the same page, same board with you. So now let me create one file called table.sql, just like that. And if you haven't added an extension for this database or SQL, you can add it, or Mssql. It will just remember that you are using, or even if you create this table.sql, it will highlight for you here, or it will just suggest that you add extension for SQL. So now let me create another one for stop procedure. So don't worry, I'll be pushing this code into that GitHub, so that if you want to use it, you can go ahead and look at how I did. So that's stop procedures. So now I have added these two documentation. First of all, let's start with tables, but I have already included everything that we need, so that we save on some time. So the first table that we want is for users. Yeah. So we just copy this procedure, come here in our data other, and then add it here. So now we will have this ID. I have identity, auto incrementing, then a name, email, password, and role. But now we need to add something, one thing, that is register. And register is int, and it should be not null, and by default it should have a default of 0, just like that. And to clarify on that, if we add this table, it will have this register as 0, because if a user is signing up, we will add the details on that table, but the value would be register 0. So when we want to send an email, our background services will go through the table and see if there is an entry that has 0. If it has 0, it means that the user has already registered, but the user hasn't received an email for welcoming him or her to our application. So it will send an email and then convert this 0 to 1. So let me run this, and let me first of all document it. So just cut it, and we'll give it, we'll just add it here, just like that. So let me save on that. Now we just go back. I just want to show you how it looks. So select everything from and users, and the one that we have added. So users, just like that. And we want to see how the table looks like. You can already see the tables is there. Now it has nothing. At this time it's just empty. So the other one is our table, the stock procedure, a parcel table. Yeah, so just copy all of it and come here in our other data studio to where we are running our commands. So just like that. Now you see the entries that we need in this table. We have ID, it is a primary key, and we can add here identity 1, that is for implementing an SQL server. So sender email, receiver email, track ID, location, destination, dispatch date, and wait. And these are the things that we add on our front end. Markers, these markers will be from the Google map. I will show you. And status is, this will be if the status is pending, or it is received, or it is dispatched, or maybe it has reached the recipient. A parcel has was received by, or it has reached to recipient. So now we want to add that. We can just come here and say default, can give a default of 0 to say if a status is 0, then it means that it is pending. Maybe the parcel has been received, but in our, maybe the hub where we dispatch the parcel, but it has not been sent. Now when it is being sent, now we can add when it has been received by the recipient, or it has arrived the destination. Now it needs to add, we need to update to 1, and this will be the work of admin. And then if it is pending, we will not send any email, but when the status is 1, now we can send the email to notify that the sender and receiver that the parcel has received the destination, and they should get ready to get the recipient should get ready to get the parcel, or the sender should receive an email, and he or she can notify the recipient that, hey, the parcel has been delivered and you need to go and collect it, just like that. So now we don't really require this deleted, because I wanted to implement soft delete, or we can just use it. And this feature of soft delete is where most of the time you find in big applications there's nothing like something like you delete a record at all. Let's say you have a Facebook page or a Facebook account and you want to delete your account. Facebook doesn't really delete everything, your records, so that you don't appear anywhere in their database. The only thing that they do, they just hide you from maybe from the application a little bit or from frontend, but you already exist in database. So what you do is that this delete, you can give it a default of 0 to say that the user is not deleted, and when the status changes, then it will now proceed and add that one, or it will add this value here to be 1, so that means that the user is deleted or the parcel is deleted. That's how soft delete works. You can go ahead and research more on soft delete. So we want to just run this. So now we can say, we can just cut it, add it in our documentation here in our application. Now what else I want to add now is our stop procedures now. So this we'll do it very fast because already I have created them. Maybe if you have question or you have something to add, you add in the comment and I will come back and address it. So these are stop procedures that we have. Let me see where they have start. So get all parcels. So this is one of stop procedures. Just there, copy and add here. And this one you can already see it is selecting all parcels where deleted is 0. So meaning if you have added soft delete feature, then it means that when you delete, it will add this deleted to be 1, meaning that you have already deleted, and when you are trying to get parcel, it won't be queried because it is looking for those one that has 0. So the simple thing to add here is or to explain is to say that you have only hide, you have not deleted, like deleting. This is just the way I was explaining. So Facebook, they don't delete your account totally, they just hide your maybe account so that they can use it later in maybe data analytics and whatever. So let me run this one. Okay, and then we can just cut it, just come in our here in our stop procedures now and add it there. So that's first one. So the next one here in our stop procedure is this one soft delete, and we'll just get all of it, stop procedure, and okay. Now just like that. So copy it, come here, add it, and then run it. So you already see it is working correctly, and then we cut, add it in here, and you can add this even comments so that if another developer is want to read your code, you can already have an easier time reading your code. So the next one here is this one for getting parcel owned by user. So this one here, add up to there. So copy it and add it there, just like that, and let me copy it or maybe run it. So now we can cut and add it here in our stop procedure. These are the things that we require. That's why you're seeing we need to have this soft delete feature. We need to get all parcels owned by user so that we can show this user all his or her parcels, whether he or she has sent it, he has sent them, or maybe he has received them, and it should be parcels that have not been deleted. That's why you see the value of delete we have given 0. So you can just go and revise on this, or you just go and look at my code when I push this code. So now this one is for delete parcel. This one, yeah. This one is for totally deleting, and I don't think I will use this because we'll be using soft delete. So now let's see, let's run it. Okay, now copy it or cut it, just like that, and then we need to add it here. We need to add in our documentation here. So let me cancel this. So let's go down a little bit. So just another one. We want to use this update and insert. Is we are not going to use it. That one. So because that's for another day. So check parcel. Just like that. Check parcel, copy. Come here, add it. Check for parcel, and this one for checking parcel will be used by background service, whereby it will just be looking at the one that has a status of 1, meaning that admin has confirmed that it has been delivered or it has reached the destination, meaning that now the user and sender and receiver should receive a notification or an email telling them now you can correct your parcel, it has reached the destination. So that's how it works. So now this one is for update status parcel and sent email. Okay, this one here, just like that, will be used by background service. Now this one will be used because when we send the email, now we need to add the value in our, or we want to update the parcel to have status of 2, because now our background services, the next time they are looking at the parcel that have been delivered, it will pass the parcel that already have been delivered and the email has been sent. Yeah, so now let's go down and see other parcels that we require. Like this one is for users, for signing in user. So let me copy it, add it here, just like that, and then run it, cut and add it here. So let me go down again, sign up, this one, copy all of it, just like that, add here, then run it, then cut, and then add it here in our documentation. Another thing is what else do we need? This one down here, check user in database, user lookup, just like that. And this one will be for check user in, this one will be used to check if users exist in the database, so that we don't have to add a user that already exists. So now let me run it, just copy it, just cut all of it, add it on our documentation. Yeah. So another thing now is this one here, checking database, this one there, copy and then run it here. Already we have run it, so cut it, add it in our documentation there. So let me now copy this one again, update users. Now this one also will be used by our background services. It will be used by our background services because we want, if the user has a register of has a value of 1, then it will send the email, update user and send email. We can even add that one here, just like that. Let me see if I have run it and send email, and let me see if we have this here in our database, or we have to exist. Yeah, it must be the first statement, something just like that. Let me see if I have, I haven't run it, so let me cut all of it, come here in our file here. So now these are the things that we wanted to add. So now we have all stored procedures that we want, so they are there, and I have added documentation here. So when I push the code, you can just come here and look all these stored procedure that we will need in our application, and this from here now we'll be using stored procedures in our application, because that's why we have already used all these stored procedures here. So this is the table structure, these stored procedures. Now the last thing that I want is to show you how to add the database, or to connect your database with the application. So here we just come here, add a config file, say config dot.ts, just like that. And then let me come here in our, or maybe let's first of all import .env from .env. And I forgot to tell you that our last video I had this .env. This .env was, I was creating it here, that's why they were errors when we are running. We couldn't find this port value here, that's why, but now I push it in our backend folder here, and it is working correctly. So that's what the mistake that I did in the last video. So now it's, we just say .env.config, and now already SQL Server has added has that file for us to, that is helping us to connect with our database, and that file is just right here. I had already researched it, and it's here. So now we need to say export const config, and just like that, all of it. So copy it and paste it here, so just like that. And now don't try to master this file here, because it is unnecessary, because every database, SQL database, will give you this config that will be helping you to connect with your database. If you come in your browser and maybe search connect Node.js with MySQL or any other database that you are using, you will see like what you need to do or what you need to add, and you will proceed, because it's something that is by default there. So there's no need for you to just master that one thing. So that's all. From there, you already see these ones. You can just come down and just read about the connection between Node.js and SQL Server. So now what we need to add, you see, we have to add the password. The password is the password that you are using for connecting, or let me tell you, or maybe show you the password. And password that used here when you are running the Docker, if you are on Docker, then that one is the password that you are required to use. So now we need to add this one in our .env. and we should add this DB name and user here. So we just, user is SA, and for our database, DB here is Courier DB, and database here is Courier DB, and the password is the one that I showed you earlier. So now let me come here, add okay, let me first of all copy this DB user, like that, copy, then come here in our, and then in our .env, add it here as database user. We give it SA because that's our username or our username in database that we are using to connect with our database. So another thing is this DB pwd or password. So copy, come here in our .env, paste, and our password, or my password, is just this one. Yeah, it's a default password here. So copy and then add it here. So another thing is this config here. We need this DB name here, copy, and then paste here in our .env. And now we need to add the name for our DB, and this one is the name for our DB, Courier DB. So just come there, copy it, just copy it, and then go back in our application, paste it there. So now that's okay, we have connected with our DB. So another thing that I wanted to show you is just another retro thing to make our code at least professional and to make it really good. So let's come in our file here. I've included a script that will use that will help us to run those stop procedures and to avoid repetition. So let me come here and copy this here, this one here. This is a script that I found online. So this one is for helping us just to avoid repetition. So now if we come in the helpers, remember I said the helpers hold the functions or things that we can reuse. So we just add it like database.ts, and now just come here and paste it. Now we have some error because we have not installed this Mssql. So let me first of all install the Mssql. So terminal, this here, and then need to go into location, desktop, and then cd YouTube, and then Courier services, just like that, and then cd. We want to go to backend. This is backend, and now backend, just say npm and then install Mssql, or you can say install instead of I can say install Mssql, just like that. And I think that Mssql we need to install types again, just like we did with our course and with our course and I think .env. So this one should have already installed. It's not that big package, so it's installing. So this is just a script to use when we are connecting, because if we don't use this script, we will have to use a lot of repetition code. Like when we are executing our command, we just add something like Mssql. We just import Mssql, mssql, and then say something like request, and then say .input, and then we add the argument that we want to add for our store procedure, and then say .input again, and then add that maybe it is name, add again something, maybe add another input, and then say something like ID or something else. So it is no need we need to use, because if we have this, we just do something like db.exec, and then we can give the name of that store procedure. You can say get all parcels, and then here now we can give input, like maybe it's ID, name, something like email, and that's very efficient for us. But we'll see this when we are starting to code logic in our controllers. We just see how easy it is to use it. So I think it has already finished installing. So it hasn't finished. So that's all that I wanted to show you guys in this video. I don't want it to get longer, because need to go bit by bit so that you understand clearly. I know it's a lot of things to grasp at once, and I know that when you are finishing this project, you'll have a greater grasp, or you have a grasp of what is happening in a full stack application, and you'll have this mentality of a good coding, and to have at least a grasp of how code works when you want to code, like you want to give your code all the best, and you want to give it, or you want to make it a production ready code. So these are the things that I want to touch on them, because I feel like I have watched a lot of videos, and they don't give me like that notion of how the code, ready code that can go into production, and how to adopt best practices for the code that can go to production, of which I want to show you. And that's why maybe you might find that some areas in this project are very difficult. Even myself, I'm struggling to teach, but I know by the end of the day you get something. If you feel like I'm going very fast, you can just slow down, just go on your pace. It doesn't matter the time you are taking to complete this project. What matters is what you will have gained in this project, and the skill that you have gained. So that's all. Let me first of all see, and maybe say npm and then mssql, like that. Let me copy it, because I've seen as if it has not installed correctly. So let me see. It's just, yeah, so copy it. It's just the way I did. Let me repeat. Let's see if it's there already. It should complete here. Now what we'll do is just come here and see the types, because I know it will require the types. Let me see. It is not giving me that the command for types. So let me first of all delete it there and import it again. So in mssql from mssql, just like that. So if you come here, already you see the command that it will give you in order to add types, because we are using Typescript. If you are using just JavaScript in our backend, you won't have to add this command, so you would have to install these types. So you need to add those types really fast. So it's a very small package. So I'm believing that it will take a lot of, it will take a little, it will take less time. Just can see there. So now the error should go. It should eliminate the error. So now that's okay. Now this one here is our script. I don't think there's a need for mastering this here. To tell you for sure, I don't know everything that is happening here, but I know it's helping us to connect. And I've researched in the internet and I've seen this, and I believe there are all kind of, maybe the script that help you to use the code. That's why you need to search a little bit when you're coding to know the best practice that you need to do on that package, or on that, maybe let's say database connection, and maybe querying and doing all the sort of things, because these are things that you need to be very very good at when you're becoming a developer, when you want to be a developer. So I'll show you this, how we use this script here in our next video, where we will just use it to run our commands and to get store procedures and add inputs and run it just like that. And at the end of the day, you see how efficient it will be. So it's all that I wanted to cover in this video, day 7. Day 8 will just code the logic and everything, and then we start integrating with our front end to have a full stack. We are almost coming to an end, and I'm happy to have taken all this time to teach you of things that I know and things that can be of help to you. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe and like, hit the bell icon so that you see or you get notification whenever I upload a new video, and I hope that it will be beneficial to you. So hit that bell icon. You already know what is coming. See you in the next video.